Hi everyone, this is Namrata Apte. I am a graduate of Gujarat National Law University and have been working as a legal mentor at Career Launcher Mumbai. Today, what I'm going to be discussing with all of you is basically are the new criminal laws which have been implemented from 1st of July 2024. Before this, obviously, you guys must be aware that we had criminal laws like IPC, CrPC, and Indian Evidence Act. Now we are going to look at the provisions, some of the provisions which have now replaced some old provisions. So we are going to start with Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. For the convenience sake, I'm going to call it BNS in this video. BNS has replaced Indian Penal Code. What it has done is, first of all, initially Indian Penal Code used to have 511 sections. Now it has reduced the number of sections to 358, but simultaneously has also introduced a lot of new crimes. So let's begin with the first one. Basically, there's a clause 69 which has been added in the new law, which penalizes basically and punishes people who have sexual intercourse with people using deceitful means. The penalty of such crime is an imprisonment up to 10 years and also fine. So what they are trying to say is, if you basically mislead people and force them into a relationship using lies like, the promise of employment or marriage, that is not okay, and that will be treated as a crime. The next change that we will discuss is basically that they have introduced, and first of all, they have acknowledged and then introduced mob lynching as a crime. So, in the last few years, we have seen a lot of such instances where somebody has been lynched to death by the mob. So, now to deal with it in appropriate manner, they have introduced it as a separate clause altogether. Other changes which have been introduced are is the introduction of this crime called organized crimes under clause 111(1) of BNS. Basically, what this means is that any unlawful activity which is continuing, which is in the nature of robbery, land grabbing, cyber crimes, human trafficking, etc., is being done for purposes of ransom or prostitution, will be considered an organized crime. Next clause is clause 3041 of BNS, which defines snatching. In the previous act, IPC, snatching was not mentioned separately as a crime. It was considered under the definition of theft only, but the new law acknowledges snatching as a separate crime than theft. However, the punishment for the both is the same, which is imprisonment leading up to 3 years. Now, the next, basically, if you analyze this new law, what you will realize is that while yes, it now differs from the old law IPC, they still have certain similarities. For instance, both of them start with this clause, with this whole section about exceptions, general exceptions, which are the defenses that accused can use when they are trying to defend themselves and they are trying to get out of the legal trouble. So you will see a lot of similarities while also seeing a lot of new changes, keeping in mind the changing times. The next law that we will discuss is Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita, which I will be referring to as BNSS. This particular law replaces Criminal Procedure Code of 1973. Basically, Criminal Procedure Code of India used to deal with the procedure which had to be followed after the crime was committed. For instance, things like arrest, bail, etc. So this law brings about some new changes. One of the most important changes that they are bringing is that now we are introducing forensic investigation as a mandatory thing for offenses punishable with an imprisonment term of 7 years or even more. So what they are trying to say is, on all such crime scenes, it will be mandatory for a forensic team to be present and to collect evidence for the purposes of the trial. And while doing this, they will also have to record this whole process. Another thing that they are expecting to do for people to do now is that all the inquiries, proceedings, and trials are to be held in electronic mode so that they can bring about more transparency in the process. Moving forward, they are also introducing production of electronic communication devices, as for the purposes of investigation, trial, or inquiry. So, with the well, obviously advancement of technology, it makes sense to have this as a clause now. BNSS also has extended the police custody from 15 to 90 days. And one more thing, one very important thing that they are allowing is trial in absentia. So, in those cases, where basically suppose the accused has absconded, or where the accused is disruptive to the criminal proceedings, then now the judges are allowed to conduct those trials in absentia, which will basically not withhold the justice system just because somebody is absconding or is disruptive in nature. Another thing that they have introduced is that for the protection of and the safety of the rape victims, their statements will be recorded separately, and they don't have to face the rest of the people, and they will be recorded in a separate room altogether. Now, the third law is Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam, which is BSA for now for us. This law replaces Indian Evidence Act. The most important change which this law has brought about is that they are really basically acknowledging the importance of technology, and they have introduced sections which will tell the police and the advocates and the judges how to basically acknowledge electronic records and how to collect those evidence basically which are in electronic and digital form. Basically, this new provision encompasses a wide array of electronic records in its ambit, including server logs, emails, laptops, file stores and devices, location information, website content, messages, and more. Which I think, needless to say, is something that we do need to acknowledge, and do need to have a proper system, because now in today's world we can't really avoid the involvement of technology in everything, including the criminal world, of course. So this is a very positive change that they are trying to bring about. And so the new laws, obviously there a lot of positive is hopefully going to come out of it. There is also some criticism about it, but only time will tell how they will pan out for this country. Thank you, and soon we'll be uploading more videos for all of you. Thanks a lot.